The Simpsons, one of the longest running shows, well, probably the most longest running animated show ever made since 1989 when it debuted as its own spin-off series of the Tracy Ullman Show. And of course, show creator Matt Groening had wrote an episode for season 1 which never saw the light of day. Upon discovering this, a blogger went to a Fox convention, the studio that produced The Simpsons, and met the creator Matt Groening, asking him about this lost episode. When Groening looked at him, he was not that happy. He wouldn't openly talk about it, but he did give him a web address to a site. So this blogger thought if he wants his answers, he can go onto this site. He typed it in and searched for it, and that's when he found the site, and it was just blank, with some yellow text and a file downloading saying click here. What he found on that website, well, his computer was crashing, and at this point he had to reboot it, but when he did, that's when he found the lost episode, Dead Bart. It just started like any other episode from season 1, the intro and the couch gag, even one segment in there called Moaning Lisa. Anyway, the episode, as I just said, started regularly, and they went on a family vacation on an aeroplane until this aeroplane has a malfunction and breaks, sucking out Bart Simpson. Now, Matt Groening believed that The Simpsons in death should reflect realistic life. Bart fell out of the plane, and there he was, just dead. Then, of course, after that, we cut back to The Simpsons at home. Just Homer, Marge, and Lisa. No signs of Maggie or the pets, Snowball and Santa's little helper. They just sat there, crying their eyes out, just constantly crying, and after a while it started to become unbearable, like actual groans and crying and sobbing. And then it all cut black. Some text came up saying 1 year later. At this point, the Simpsons characters of the three, Homer, Marge and Lisa, were still sat around that table, though this time they were thin, emaciated. They then went out to go to Bart's grave. As they went to the graveyard, the house of the graveyard became more unsettling and more uneasy as they approached it. They even wandered through the graveyard, where there were tombstones. Tombstones of celebrities and guest stars which either hadn't been in the show yet or weren't known at all. Or each of them had a prediction on it of the celebrity's death. Now, of course, The Simpsons is no stranger to predicting future events, as we've seen in the show. But there were celebrity guests and their deaths marked on the tombstone. For example, Michael Jackson or former Beatle George Harrison, who were both well and alive at that time but had their deaths predicted on the tombstones. So the Simpsons made it to the grave of Bart Simpson, and there Bart just laid, lifeless, his body laying underneath the tombstone of where his body laid. His eyes looking lifeless, maggots and other things that take the body during decomposition were he was just dead and lifeless. And then, as the episode ended, it ended where the family was sat on the couch, pretty much like in the opening credits of every episode, only they were all sat, looking dead and lifeless and thin, like dead Bart. And then, at one point there was a joke that Homer told, but in this copy of the episode, what he said was unaudible. And then the episode had just ended there, and was complete blackness. The blogger then sees why Matt Groening didn't ever want to air this episode. Because no one should really watch it. And if this episode had aired, would The Simpsons still be going on to this very day?